Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Quantum Football. Today, I'm going to bring you guys my round one draft grades for the 2021 NFL Draft. And yeah, this was a wild ride. I will say that. Crazy stuff happening in round one. So let's just get it rolling. So, Trevor Lawrence, it's an A. I mean, you can't really go wrong with this, right? You had to pick Lawrence. There was really no other choice. So Trevor Lawrence was the pick. The reason why it's not an A plus is because, well, it was expected. At number two, we got Zach Wilson. Now, Zach Wilson, by all means, is a fantastic quarterback. I think he could do really well at the next level. But at the same time, he is not my QB2. And my QB2 right now is Justin Fields. So Zach Wilson going here, technically not the best pick in my opinion. Now, it is expected. They do need a quarterback. By all means, makes a lot of sense, but it's not going to be an A for me. It's going to be a B+. Trey Lance here with the 49ers. Now, with the whole entire move that they did this offseason to get up to 3, giving up that much to go for Trey Lance, it's not the worst. You could have done worse than Mac Jones. Don't get me wrong. It was like Justin Fields, Trey Lance, and then Mac Jones is off the screen. So, yeah, I mean, you could have definitely gone worse, but like I said, Justin Fields was definitely the pick here in my opinion. And even if you don't agree that Zach Wilson is the third best quarterback, you at least will agree that Justin Fields takes that third slot, I would hope. So maybe you think that Trey Lance has the higher upside, so maybe you can make a case for Trey Lance. But I think Justin Fields would have been the better pick here, and that's why this is a B. And Kyle Pitts here with the Falcons. Now, ideally, you would have hoped that the Falcons trade back, get a lot of assets, and then, grab some defense. But here at number 4, Kyle Pitts, it's not really the best win now pick. At the same time, though, it is the best value, and going best player available is not ever a bad idea. So the thing is just I don't know if Kyle Pitts helps you win a Super Bowl right now, just because at the NFL, tight end position is really hard to learn, and it's a very big risk to take if you think that Mac Jones will help you first year that he comes out. At the same time, I don't mind the pick at all. I think it's an A-. I don't know if there's like a better pick you could have gone here. Maybe Jamar Chase, and then you trade away Julio Jones. That could have been potentially better. But I do not blame him at all for going for Kyle Pitts. Jamar Chase here at number 5. Now, I think people will argue whether or not this was the right pick, and whether or not this was the best player that you could have taken. In my opinion, Sewell takes both those, just because the best player to take for the Bengals, in my opinion, is a guy that helps out the offensive line. Because their wide receivers right now are not bad by any means. You have T. Higgins, who, in my opinion, should have been their wide receiver 1. And Tyler Boyd, who plays the slot. I think he could have gone out in the second round, grabbed a pretty decent wide receiver. And right now it's looking like people like Elijah Moore, Terrace Marshall Jr., guys like that. Miami Brown, if you like him a lot. Those guys look, like they're going to be available. So would you rather have that and then go, someone like Dylan Radunes maybe? I don't even know if you get him, but Dylan Radunes in round 2, or would you rather have Penei Sewell and Elijah Moore? I don't know. I think I'd rather have the latter, especially since you don't really need another wide receiver 1, whereas you definitely need a tackle to start for you. That will be good. So Jamar Chase gets a B+, second best pick in my opinion, but by all means, not bad. Jalen Waddle here. Now, as we got closer and closer to the draft, I was thinking Jalen Waddle to the Miami Dolphins just seems like the pick, because the NFL values speed a lot, and Jalen Waddle has got that speed. Now, I think Devontae Smith is probably the better wide receiver, but it makes sense why this would happen. I personally don't like the pick as much, but by all means, it's a decent pick, and I don't think you'd be too mad if you're a Dolphins fan taking Jalen Waddle here. Penei Sewell at number 7. This was a great pick. I am glad the Lions did not overthink it. If you're in a rebuild mode, you need to go for offensive line and defensive line. That's how you build up a roster. You build up from the trenches up. You go offensive line, defensive line, and then once we get to the next year, maybe you can start thinking about wide receivers, tight end if Hawkins doesn't work out. Maybe you go for like corners. You go for safeties, things like that. You want to go for the trenches earlier on. And even if Slater was here, I would have not minded them taking Slater here. But getting Penei Sewell here, not overthinking it, A+ for you Lions. And that is just how we roll. So J.C. Horn for the Panthers. This was interesting because the Panthers don't really play a lot of man-to-man, so taking J.C. Horn doesn't make too much sense in terms of fit. I do think he is the cornerback one, but I would have not taken him if I were the Panthers here. So it's interesting. You also have Justin Fields on the board, which I would have preferred, and bringing in competition. I don't think Sam Darnold should be your guy, but I guess that's what they're signaling with this pick. I would have rather taken Patrick Surtain. I would have rather seen a Rashawn Slater come off the board for them. It's going to be a C+ for me. By all means, not terrible, but I definitely wouldn't have gone this route. And here with Patrick Surtain, again, we have Justin Fields available. Now, there have been reports coming out that the Broncos are in the running for Aaron Rodgers, and if they end up getting him, this is probably your next best pick. But by all means, not a guarantee that you're getting Aaron Rodgers, especially since the Green Bay Packers do not seem interested in trading him. So, look, I don't know about this one. I don't know. I would have much rather gone Justin Fields here. And Rashawn Slater still on the board as well. I think potentially this Rashawn Slater pick could have been better than Patrick Surtain. So, what are you going to do? It's going to be a C- for me. Yeah, they even have corners good and ready to go. Maybe even Micah Parsons I would have preferred. I think I would have taken just Jalen Phillips as well over Patrick Surtain. So this is getting a C- for me. And yeah, the Eagles ended up trading up here to the 10th overall pick and taking Devontae Smith. And originally I was like, I don't really like this too much. But then the Giants ended up trading down and taking a wide receiver. So this move just looks like absolute genius for the Eagles. They get an extra first-round pick and probably get the guy that they wanted anyways. So I think, even though this says A-, I think this is like the dream for the Eagles. I would have rather them taken Justin Fields because I think it's way better than Jalen Hurts. But at the same time, you cannot complain with this pick. This is absolute, like, this is best case if you like Jalen Hurts, right? So yeah, that was just fantastic. And then guess what? We got the Bears to trade up for Justin Fields. My oh my, this was the steal of the draft. A+. I don't know if I need to say anything else. Even if you're of the opinion that he's the 4th best quarterback on the board, you think Trey Lance has the higher ceiling. You think Zach Wilson, he's going to be, that Aaron Rodgers type of guy. You think Trevor Lawrence is going to be, the best prospect since Andrew Luck. By all means, you can think that, but you cannot think that Justin Fields should be falling this far. And you cannot think that Justin Fields is not a steal here. That's just not possible. So that gets an A+ for me. Good job, Bears. Leapfrogging guys like the Patriots, who definitely would have snagged Justin Fields. I would have not doubted that. And I'm very surprised that the Patriots actually didn't trade up for him earlier than this to like the Cowboys or to the to just giving them a better offer than what the Bears did. Uh, yeah, I'm surprised, but it makes sense. I didn't think that Bill Belichick would end up giving up enough to take a Justin Fields, and I ended up being right. So yeah, Micah Parsons here. I do like that they traded down, and yeah, I accidentally revealed the grade there, but Micah Parsons, I like that they traded down first before taking him, got extra value. It was very clear that the Giants probably wasn't taking Micah Parsons, and if they did, it's not the end of the world to get an extra third round pick. And I think you could have gone, the next pick, and it would have been better, which is why this is not an A. Because although I'm sure that they got their guy, they wanted Micah Parsons all along, I would have rather you taken Rashawn Slater here. And the reason why is because Rashawn Slater, great offensive lineman. I think he'll be day one starter. I think he'll be great from day one. I just don't think he has the ceiling of Penei Sewell, which is why I would have him below Penei Sewell, but not by too much at all. So yeah, Chargers, good job on not overthinking it as well. This was much harder to overthink since you were locked into taking offensive linemen here, essentially, because you needed to protect Justin Herbert. But yeah, it's all you can ask for if you're a Chargers fan. And here, the Vikings traded down with the Jets. And the Jets had to give up quite a lot here. A third round pick, an early third round pick, and a late third round pick for the 14th overall and a sixth round pick. Not sure if I'm doing the math right there. I think it's a fourth. No, I think it's an early fifth. Anyways, whatever. Doesn't matter. The point is, the Jets had to give up a lot for Elijah Vera Tucker. And this is probably the worst trade of the draft. By all means, I like Elijah Vera Tucker. I just don't think he should be going in this range. And the Jets traded up for him. So if he lasted, let's say, I don't know. Let's say he lasted to the Bears, right? And the Bears wanted to take a tackle, and Christian Darrisaw had been off the board, right? So you trade up to the Bears, give up a whole lot less, and take Elijah Vera Tucker. Whereas in this range, I don't really like him. He's probably like my 18th ranked prospect, if I had to say off the top of my head. So yeah, I don't like the move overall. You do address a need, so that's going to give me a C. It's only like a little bit of a reach. It's not too bad, and trading up doesn't really appease me too well. Mac Jones going to the Patriots. Now, this is very interesting. I think this fits very well for the Patriots mindset. They pick up guys that people don't normally like, and they transform them into superstars. So, Mac Jones, not too many people like him, but he was considered a consensus first-round pick. So, by all means, not a bad pick. Not the best pick, in my opinion. And they probably should have gone up and traded to get Justin Fields. If not at 10, because the Cowboys ended up getting a deal done with the Eagles, at least with the Broncos or the Panthers or the Lions or someone who was willing to field calls. You needed to trade up and get Justin Fields, but understandable that they decided to sit back and let Mac Jones fall to them. Just not the best move, in my opinion. Now, Zaven Collins to the Cardinals. I don't know why it showed up straight away, but C- for me. It's not really doing the job. I think you could have gotten him in the second round. I would have not been surprised had he fallen to the early second round, late second round even. And if you really, really like Zaven Collins, make a move like the Jets did. Wait until the last pick of the first round. Go to the Bucks, for example, and say, okay, Bucks, we really like this guy in Zaven Collins. We're going to give you an extra third round pick, or I don't know, an extra fourth round pick, whatever. Give a third round, and then get a fifth or fourth in return. we'll give up this much, and we'll trade up here. And you go down 16 spots, and you probably get the guy that you were wanting anyways. I think this would have been a fine move. I would have probably given it a solid B+, A-. Probably not A-, probably more like a B+. Since I was you know, there's guys like, you know, we'll get to those guys later on, but Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah right now is available. If they took Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah, I would have given them probably an A-, because even though, you know, he's a linebacker, they don't really need any linebackers, still way better than Zaven Collins, and I think they could use another linebacker by all means. And it seems like they're transforming that into a defense where, you know, they need a bunch of linebackers. They're going to use Isaiah Simmons like all over the field, so you need a replacement for him potentially. You could also use Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah in the slot. You know, be versatile with these kind of guys. I kind of like that positionless defensive mindset, and it could be the future of the NFL. But they decided not to go that route and instead took Zaven Collins. Now, if Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah ended up falling to that range in the second round, I would be very surprised. But you know, you shouldn't be banking on Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah to fall that far. He should not have gone outside the first round. Whereas Zaven Collins, there was a bunch of people saying that he was not, you know, getting first round draft capital. So it's a C- for me. It's not good. And Alex Leatherwood here for the Raiders. Now, there's like 5 other tackles here better than Alex Leatherwood. So yeah, he's not even a first round guy for me. Well, not even close. Zaven Collins was close for me. He was like borderline first round. Alex Leatherwood, probably late second, like mid-second type of guy. So it's going to be an F for me. You make these sort of moves all the time, Raiders. I don't know why you keep doing this to yourselves, but if you're not, it's just one less team to compete if you're a fan of any other team. So can't be too mad. Jalen Phillips here to the Miami Dolphins. Now, he was, I think, my 12th ranked prospect heading into the 2021 NFL draft. A stud. An absolute stud. And getting a guy like this at the 18th pick, where you could even justify taking him at the 11th pick, like what the Giants could have done had they not traded back. I think you could have made a case for this, definitely, like I said, for the Cowboys at 12. You know, anywhere in those early teens, I would have said, great, Jalen Phillips is a nice snag there for any team that takes him. And the Miami Dolphins, taking best player available. They might not necessarily need edge, but this guy can get it done. And I do not mind this move at all for the Dolphins. It's getting an A for me. Yeah, I do not blame the Dolphins at all for going for this. Well, I think you could have gone, technically, Christian Darrisaw, and it might have been a better pick. It's kind of debatable. And I think since Jalen Phillips is, in my opinion, a better prospect than Christian Darrisaw, ranked higher on my board, better pick for me. That's why it's an A for the Dolphins. Jamin Davis to the Washington football team. We have Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah available here. It blows my mind that nobody, like, the amount of linebackers that went in the first round, it blows my mind that Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah did not go in the first. And so I actually ended up mocking this a couple of times to the football team, but I didn't really like it. I don't think he's a first round guy. But it's pretty close. It's much better pick than Zaven Collins pick. I'm telling you that. Jamin Davis here at 19 is way better than Zaven Collins at 16. I think Jamin Davis is almost like on par, if not a little bit better than Zaven Collins. So if you're getting him 3 spots later, then I do not blame it at all. B- though for me, since you still are reaching, in my opinion. Cadarius Tony. Now, Cadarius Tony is probably the most polarizing guy out of this draft in terms of wide receiver. Now, some people say that Justin Fields would be that guy. I don't believe that. I don't think that Justin Fields is polarizing at all. He's quite clearly a quarterback 3, or at least a high quarterback 4 in this class, meaning that he probably should have gone, anywhere from 4 to 7 in this draft, but he didn't, which is highly unfortunate for him. But yeah, anyways, Cadarius Tony, hated by analytics guys all over the place. Analytics guys are like, he broke out in his senior season. And when you look at wide receivers that you want to take in the first round, you don't want to take a guy who broke out in his senior season. At the same time, this guy broke out with just an absolute huge season for the Florida Gators. And he looked fantastic on tape, which is why the film guys love him. They just love the fact that he can get the separation. He can get the... he can catch downfield. He locks on with the ball, makes good catches. And he knows how to get open, which is probably the most important thing that you need from a wide receiver. So getting him at 20 and trading down, especially after Devontae Smith taken for them, I do not mind this move at all for them. However, it is not my best wide receiver available. That would have been Rashad Bateman over him. That would have been Elijah Moore over him. I would have taken Elijah Moore first, then Rashad Bateman next. And then I think it would have been a toss-up between Cadarius Tony and Terrace Marshall Jr. So yeah, I think this is not the best pick, but trading down to get this guy, it's a good move. You get an extra first next year, and the Giants look really damn good. If they end up sucking this year, Daniel Jones does not look good. You have an extra first to work with next year. And it comes from the Bears, who are not guaranteed to be good straight away, even with Justin Fields being my quarterback too. They could take a while to develop him, and I don't think he's necessarily going to be, a 10-win guy with that team. So you're getting probably a mid to low or mid to high first-round pick. You're probably picking around 10 to 16 with that Bears pick. Worst case scenario, it's like a 16 to 24 type of pick. Whereas with your pick, if you're contending next year, you don't mind at all. You get an extra first round pick to build around Daniel Jones if he decides to break out. And you're looking good as a franchise. And even if this pick goes wrong, you do not mind this move at all for the Giants. So yeah, it's getting a C+ just because it's not the best pick, but I like the move overall by the Giants. Kwity Paye to the Colts. Now, he was by far my edge 2. Makes sense why they would go this route. They do need a edge rusher. And I think they should have gone Christian Darrisaw here just to immediately replace Anthony Costanzo. But it makes sense why they went edge rusher here. And if they didn't like Darrisaw, then by all means, make this pick. I do not mind it at all. It's probably the second best player that I would take for the Colts. Now, not technically the best player available, because Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah would probably fit that bill for me, but good pick by the Colts. Caleb Farley to the Tennessee Titans. You have Tevin Jenkins available here that you could have taken. You have Christian Darrisaw, which you maybe could have converted him to right tackle. Overall, it's a decent pick, just because they do need corner, but Caleb Farley did have those injury concerns, and if I'm an NFL GM, I am not taking that risk personally, but I do understand why you would go for it. It's a B for me. I think you had better players available, but you do address a need, and if he doesn't have any injury concerns, if he's an absolute baller coming out, this is going to be looking like a genius pick by the Titans. Christian Darrisaw, no need to say anything more. It's an A++ by the Vikings. They're probably taking him at 14 if they don't trade down. So getting him at 23 is absolutely fantastic for the Vikings. If you're the Vikings, you're just jumping out of your seats. If you're a Vikings fan, you are so excited for the Vikings. They did not look great last year, but you have Justin Jefferson, who was probably the best value in that draft. And now you're getting Christian Darrisaw, which looks like the best value right now in this draft. So, fantastic for the Vikings. To be fair, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah probably would have been a better value technically, but I don't know if they need any linebackers really. So, best player for the team, especially since they were probably planning on taking him at the spot. So, easy dubs for the Vikings. Naji Harris. Now, here's where the picks start to get really bad. Naji Harris is not, in my opinion, worth a first-round pick. And don't get me wrong, all those analysts that say no running backs are worth a first-round pick are just stupid. I'm flat out saying it. They are stupid. If you're getting a prime Adrian Peterson in this class, are you taking him at 33 overall at the very highest? No, that's just stupid. Why would you ever say that sort of thing? That's just, no, you're not getting me to even admit that a prime Adrian Peterson shouldn't be even taken like number 3 overall. Or, I mean, I guess since the 49ers would have taken a quarterback there anyways, number 4 to the Falcons. Would you take Adrian Peterson to the Falcons there? A prime Adrian Peterson? I think you would. So, yeah, all this nonsense about you should never take a first-round running back is just stupid. I'm just saying it right now. Naji Harris, not prime Adrian Peterson. I'm telling you that. I think he's probably worth like an early to mid-second, which is why it's a reach for me. And I don't think that the NFL should be valuing running backs, especially at this pick, to be that highly. At the same time, this does fit a need, and they're going to be probably doing okay with Naji Harris. At the same time, Naji Harris is not going to be doing good with a crap offensive line, which is what the Steelers have right now. And if you give no offensive line to Naji Harris, if you don't get any steals within the next 2 rounds at the offensive line, this is going to look like an awful pick. Because Naji Harris is not going to look good with a terrible offensive line. So, yeah, it's going to be a D+ for me. I think you could have gotten him in the 2nd round. If not, you probably could have gotten him, in a trade-up with a early 2nd round team. So, why take him here? Why not take an edge rusher like Jason Oweh? Why not take an edge rusher like, Gregory Russo even? I don't like Gregory Russo in this range, but this would have been a better pick than Naji Harris. Why not take a guy like Azeez Ojulari, who's still somehow remained to be outside the 1st round, which surprised me as well. You could even take best player available and go Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I would have not hated that move at all for the Steelers. Going Naji Harris is just not it for me. And when I said early to mid 1st round pick, early to mid 2nd round pick is what Naji Harris is worth, I think it's probably closer to mid to late 2nd round pick is what he's worth. But, I mean, yeah, it's not good. Travis Etienne, an even worse pick. I'm giving it an F+. The only reason why there's a plus and not a minus here is because it kind of fits the Jaguars. If you let James Robinson do the workhorse running back stuff, and you let Travis Etienne, play out of the backfield and catch passes for you, motion him to the slot, I guess it's okay, but why? Travis Etienne, one of those running backs, very similar to Naji Harris, where he's worth that mid to late 2nd round pick. It's just not good. Not good for the Jaguars. If you like Travis Etienne a lot, you take him at 34, or wherever they're picking in the 2nd round. You take him in the 2nd. It's that simple. But yeah, and if you think about it, right, if you're saying to yourself, okay, people are reaching on 1st round running backs, right? They're reaching on a Naji Harris. You shouldn't be reaching because other people are reaching. That's not how you should draft. You shouldn't be reaching on the same position group just because other teams are reaching on that same position group. Let's say 5 linebackers went in the first round, right? Let's say, Micah Parsons taken at 9. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah went to the Cowboys at 12. And then let's say Zaven Collins still goes to the Cardinals. Jamin Davis goes to the Washington football team. You don't go out there and reach for another linebacker and take like Jabril Cox at 5, at the 5th linebacker, because he's not worth that pick, right? He's just not worth it there. You don't take a Jabril Cox in the first, just like you don't take a Travis Etienne in the first. It's just that simple. You don't reach on a position group just because another team decides to as well. So it's their own fault if they're reaching, right? You just get a better player that's available here. Again, you have Azeez Ojulari, you have Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, you have Trevon Moehrig would have been a better pick. You have guys like you could go corner here in Greg Newsome. You could go linebacker. Well, not linebacker here. No, you could have Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, like I said. You could have gone, what other position group? You could have gone tackle in Tevin Jenkins and then converted him to left tackle. That would have been a better pick than Travis Etienne. You could have taken Dylan Raduns here. That would have been a better pick. You could have picked probably a wide receiver like Rashad Bateman. That would have been a better pick. Travis Etienne, just not worth it here, in my opinion. You could have taken like 20 plus guys over Travis Etienne here. So, yeah. Greg Newsome to the Browns. Now, this is a decent pick. I think, the Jags taking him in the last pick would have been a fine pick. I personally would have done it. You have guys like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah still available. You have guys like Azeez Ojulari, Jason Owe. Those would have been better picks here, in my opinion, for the Browns. So yeah, I don't personally like the route that they took, but they did take the best corner available, which is better than you can say for a later pick in this round 1. Rashad Bateman, in my opinion, not the best wide receiver available for the Ravens here at 27. It would have been Elijah Moore for me, but Rashad Bateman, probably that next guy, very close to Elijah Moore. And by all means, I do not blame them for going this route. However, at the same time, wide receivers are not nearly worth, the sort of draft capital for the team like the Ravens, right? I think the Ravens, they played the Orlando Brown Jr. trade very well, and by all means, they're one of the best organizations out there. But they just seem like at this pick, they decided to go need, and you shouldn't be really drafting for need. You should be drafting for value, in my opinion. You should be addressing the needs in free agency, and they ended up doing that. Not entirely. They ended up letting go some of their key edge rushing guys, but they did keep Tyce Bowser, I do believe is his name, who did contribute very well, and they ended up getting an edge rusher in this class, so it ended up working out for them. But at the same time, you cannot bank on these guys to fall to you like Rashad Bateman kind of did. I mean, he's not really too much of a fall for me, but Jason Owe did. So you can't really bank on these needs falling to you like the Ravens do end up getting like every single draft, but it's whatever. I guess Rashad Bateman, he's going to be a B+ for me just because I would have rather them taken Azeez Ojulari and then go Elijah Moore next with the 31st pick, rather than going Rashad Bateman here and then Jason Owe next. So yeah, Peyton Turner. This is by far probably one of the worst reaches I've seen in a while. But it's in a later part of the first round. It's not like an Alex Leatherwood pick where you're in the early first or mid first, I guess. And you reach on a player that's worth a second round pick. This guy is probably worth like an early third, late second, and you're taking him in the late first. So it's not nearly as bad as Alex Leatherwood, but It's still pretty bad. So yeah, it's a D plus for me. And Eric Stokes here. He's probably like the fourth best cornerback available. You have guys like Asante Samuel Jr. You have Kelvin Joseph. You have the other Georgia cornerback that I can't think of, and then you have Eric Stokes. So you probably could find another one in there, I can imagine, but by all means, not even close to the best corner available. So yeah, I would have rather them see taking Kelvin Joseph here for sure. Even though everyone would have considered it a reach, I would have not considered it as bad of a pick as Eric Stokes. A good thing to keep in mind, though, is that he ran a 4.29, so I guess the Packers like speed. But, yeah, it's just not. He is, like, probably worth a mid-third round pick, so, yeah, not the best here from the Packers. D- for me. And, Gregory Russo to the Buffalo Bills. I mean, you still have these guys like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, like a Tevin Jenkins, like a Azeez Ojulari. I would have rather seen all those guys go for the Bills over Gregory Rousseau. Even Jason Oweh, who picked next from the Ravens, was a better pick than Gregory Rousseau at the spot. So yeah, he's the third best edge rusher available for me, and I mean, he's like the probably the 10th or 15th best available player. So yeah, they probably don't need like half those players, but yeah, I don't like this pick. It's gonna be a C plus for me, just because it does address a need, and he's by all means not bad. I would have just rather seen him go, in the early second. If the Bills really liked him, they take a guy like maybe a Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Maybe they don't really need one. When you think about it more in terms of like what they actually need, then I guess this is a fine pick. But I just don't like it because it's not really taking the best player available approach, and it's not even the best edge rusher available. So if you really like Gregory Rousseau, I'd rather you seen like double dipping in edge rusher, going like a Jason Oweh or Azeez Ojulari here, and then going and saying to yourself, okay, what is a team that wants to trade down in the second round? We're going to go out there and trade up and get Gregory Rousseau, and if someone ends up taking him right after, big deal. You got the better edge rusher available anyways. So yeah, that's why I don't really like this pick here. Jason Oweh to the Baltimore Ravens. Like I said, Azeez Ojulari is still here, but Jason Oweh is close behind. He's in that upper echelon of edge rushers. I would have said it was Jalen Phillips in the top tier, Kwity Paye in the tier just below him, and then it would have been, Azeez Ojulari, Jason Oweh. I don't know who else is in there. I think that would just be it. Maybe Zaven Collins you can put in there, but that's projecting edge rusher, so I don't think I would put him there. Who else is an edge rusher? I'm just forgetting edge rushers, aren't I? No, I think that's it. Jason Oweh is like right with Azeez Ojulari, just a little bit lesser of a prospect, in my opinion, more of a project than Azeez Ojulari would be. So it's an A- because they do address a need. It's the second best edge rusher available, and it would have been probably my third best player, but they don't really need a linebacker. So yeah, by all means, a great pick by the Baltimore Ravens. Joe Tryon going to the Bucs. It seems like the Bucs really didn't do their homework, because Azeez Ojulari is still on the board. Why? Why are people letting Azeez Ojulari fall? I just don't understand it. But Joe Tryon, not a terrible pick. He was probably like a mid-second round guy for me. But yeah, you had guys like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah available still, and linebackers like not a bad position to address for the Bucks. So what are you gonna do? Especially for a coverage linebacker, by the way, because Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah, you could have, made him a versatile player, played him in the slot potentially, played him as that coverage linebacker, which Devin White is not really, so he'd complement him very well. I would have, if they got Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah here, I would have given them an A+. But they ended up going Joe Tryon, so it's a C+ for me. So yeah, that is the video. That is all of my NFL draft grades. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That would be much appreciated. And I will see you guys in the next one.